here we go. So hello, everyone. My name is Lori Dufresne, and I'm a certified health coach. And today we are going to be sharing some unbelievable stories of health transformation here. This is our crew, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And we will get the professional recording up soon. But for now, we are going to do it like this. Okay, so let me go ahead and introduce myself. So again, my name is Lori Dufresne. I have been a coach for 7 years now. My husband and I found this program 7 years ago for ourselves. And I lost 30 pounds on this program, but more importantly, I have created a healthy mindset so that I've been able to keep that off. My husband lost 50 pounds. And again, we've been able to both keep this off, which is for the first time ever. We've always been yo-yo dieters, but what I love about our program is that it has truly taught us habits for a lifetime. So I'm going to introduce my co-host right now, Sunny Kane. So Sunny, if you want to jump off mute and just share a little bit about you and your story, if you will.
All right. Well, kind of like Lori, I found this program 3 years ago, almost in February, which is so crazy because so much has changed for my family and I as a result of this program. I released 54 pounds, reduced inflammation in my body, which reduced, chronic pain that I was dealing with, leveled out my hormones. Trust me, everybody's happy that happened. And I started sleeping better. But more importantly, I really started having the energy that I needed. Also the physical, emotional, spiritual, mental health that to be present for my life, this one life that God entrusted me with. And it's been over 2 years ago that I lost that weight, hit my goal, and I have kept it off. And that's what I love about this program. Lori, I know that you could say the exact same story here, but really, I used to go through these patterns where I would change my habits, I would lose 5 to 10 pounds, I'd revert to old ways, and I would gain it all back. But the beautiful thing about our program is that our approach is different. If you kind of see this slide here on the screen, what ends up happening is generally people, they prepare for a journey, and then right before we hit our healthy weight, we kind of get stopped. But our program is not focused on the end game being that healthy weight. We're doing the work that is necessary to move you all the way through to the potential to living a life with optimal health and well-being for the long game, for the end game. So we're not just staring at numbers on scales. We're hoping to really guide people all the way to lifelong transformation. And we see it happen time and time again. Both Lori and I are living proof of this. But the one thing that I would say is there's always someone waiting on the other side of our yes. And for me, I am so excited to introduce to you. This was the reason I became a coach. It was the story of my beautiful mother, Raylynn, who I'm so excited to introduce tonight. And her bravery in stepping into this journey is so inspiring. So I thought I'd bring her on tonight to share with you. So Mom, if you want to go ahead and pull yourself on mute, we would love to hear your story.
Okay, well, just looking at that picture just brings me back because I sat for 3.5 years in a recliner on that oxygen. You can see that tube shoved up my nose. And at times I maxed out the machine even. And, the doctor told me, sorry, just because you're 60 years old and you're not going to be off oxygen for the rest of your life. And it's like, whoa. And they had no clue why. And so I went through hospitalizations, lung biopsies. I went to the Denver Jewish Hospital numerous times, and I finally ended up at the Mayo Clinic. And years of doctors poking and prodding and taking blood and testing, and nothing changed, just nothing changed. My pain was so high. I was taking 3,200 gabapentin. I was taking 4 to 6 hydrocodone. I couldn't sleep, so I'm taking Ativan and muscle relaxers. And then, of course, I ate. My comfort. It's like candies, cookies, anything, any kind of sugar that I could find, because that would give me that little bit of comfort. And I was obsessed with sugar. I was addicted to sugar. And of course I would eat it when no one could see me, or when, because I was so afraid somebody's going to say, hey, look at that fat lady eating all that sugar and that candy and all that garbage. And it was horrifying to me because it was humiliating, because every time I went to the doctor, they would say I was morbidly obese and I needed to, lose weight. Well, tell me how. No one ever told me how. And I always went away crying, thinking, well, I'm just a bit overweight, major denial. I hated myself. So I went to therapy for my PTSD. That was the beginning of my healing, but then I passed out from triggers. And, Daryl actually broke down the door to our office one day because I passed out. And so at that point, I couldn't have cared whether I lived or died. And so I cried out to God for help and that for a miracle. And I'm going to cry now. And that miracle came in the form of my daughter. I watched her success on this program, and I refused to look at it. And why? Because I was a failure. I knew I would fail. That's how I saw myself. And I was a master dieter. I'd been on diets for years, 40 years, in fact. And I'd been on every one you could even name. I'd been on them. And so finally, when I could no longer handle the pain of who I was, emotionally, mentally, physically, I jumped on and talked to Lori and Sunny. Ironically, they're both on here today, but I borrowed, Lori, let me borrow your belief. Sunny, I borrowed your belief. And so now, and so on June 30th, 2017, I started this plan. And my body was so sick, but it began responding pretty quickly as far as energy and sleep. And then it was amazing. By mid-December, I was off daytime oxygen. The doctor said I wasn't going to ever get off it, and look at, there I was. So I began tapering down off of all my pain meds, and today I'm on none of those. No gabapentin, no muscle relaxers, no pain medication, no Ativan, no inhalers. It's so amazing. And then May of 2018, I reached my goal. I was down 130 pounds. And the best change has been my mindset. I learned why I ate in stress. I learned why I ate from my emotions. That was the key to my success. And I've learned other ways to handle it, better ways to cope than eating. And so I'm just flat out a new person, because now I have a husband rather than a caretaker. I get to play with my grandkids. I enjoy a bigger house that I couldn't go up and down the stairs before. I've gotten to travel again. And most recently, probably one of my biggest wins is being able to take care of my mom when she passed away, rather than sitting in the recliner at home crying and crying because I couldn't have been there with her. And thank God this program helped me be able to do that. So why did I become a coach? There's two reasons sitting on this call today, Anjie and Bob. It's people like them, and that I've been able to reach out my hand and give them hope and say, I have a place that you can go, because no one else understands unless you've been where we are. And so it's wonderful to be able to do that. It's given me a purpose in life again. That's so amazing. So, didn't mean to cry, but it's an amazing journey. So
that's beautiful, Mom. Thank you so much for sharing. So I know that you brought Anjie in more than just a photo, right? Like, we have Anjie in the flesh tonight. So Anjie, if you'd like to jump off mute, we'd love to hear from you and what you've experienced on this program as well.
All right. Hi. First, I want to say thank you for inviting me on the real story tonight. I remember when Raylynn called me, I told her I felt like I won a trip to the red carpet. Woo! So, wow, my story kind of starts with my family history of obesity and my fear of not really wanting to follow in that and gain as others did. Yet I really never did anything or took the actions to prevent that. I was more or less the thinnest in the family, and carried myself that way for quite a long time. And unfortunately, I spent a lot of my years, a long amount of years, with a history of alcohol. And that contributed to some weight gain through, my 30s and 40s. And when I got sober in 2013, so I have 6 years sobriety, and after I quit drinking, I really realized that I had kind of always had this struggle with food, and it was just really buried. But really when I got sober is when it came out more, and I realized that I traded one addiction for another, and my eating became my daily life. I mean, I would wake up and I would be wondering before I even got out of bed what I was eating for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, that day, the next day, you know, Friday, even, you know, it could be Monday and I'm thinking about Friday. And I gained a good 60 pounds within that 6 years. And I got to the point where I was having neck pain, very, very much like I have a sedentary job, and the neck pain, constant. And when I would get up, the pain in my hips, I was diagnosed with hip bursitis from my weight gain. Sometimes I would get out of bed and almost fall down because of the pain in my feet and my ankles. And I was diagnosed several times within a 3-year period with pre-diabetes. And the fatigue, the laziness, no energy, you know, it all came down to being sad and depressed and a really low quality of life. And I, probably 2 months before I found Raylynn, or Raylynn was introduced to me, I was diagnosed with full diabetes. Now I'm going to tear up because that's what I feared all my life. And a mutual friend had contacted me with Raylynn. She had asked me if she could give my information to Raylynn, and I said yes. And she said she had something that could help me. And Raylynn contacted me, and I kind of rather blew her off. And my reasoning at the time was because I had another option on the table that at the time, I thought that was going to be my answer. And Raylynn said to me, you know, you call me if anything changes. And I think I called her probably about 3 weeks after that. And I said, Raylynn, I need your help because I became so desperate for hope that she's given me, and this program has given me. Here we go. And I'm so blessed and thankful for this life and the health that I have gained, even in this short 2.5 months that I've been on this program. And I started off via September 30th, 2019 this year. And I'm down 3 pant sizes. I've lost 37.8 pounds, and the mental clarity that I have, I'm sleeping better, the energy, the healthier habits, and I don't obsess about food anymore. And that's huge for me. Constantly going to the store, and I don't do that anymore. And today I'm concerned about mind, body, and spirit for me, and that's huge. And I became a coach November 2nd this year also. So just a couple of days shy of a month being on the program because of what is done for me inside and that mental clarity. And I want to pay that forward because I know that there's others out there that have that desire and are searching for that hope that I was looking for and that I've found here with Optavia. So I couldn't be happier. And I want to pay that forward.
Anjie, I love hearing this. I love that you have shifted into a place of really just being a hope dealer in just a short time, and it really is common. It really is common in our plan for people to jump in and coach because we're a group of people that are passionate about what we do. You see, as I talked about at the very beginning, Anjie, I'm going to go ahead and have you mute. There we go. But as I talked about earlier with our plan, we have essentially an an end game that is not about a number on a scale. We have an end game that that wants to get you to a transformation, and we do that with 4 different components. It's not just about the food that we eat or going to the gym and beating yourself up. We have 4 key components that move people like Anjie, like my mom, into transformation. And so these 4 components that we have is the assistance of a health coach. You've heard that on this call. Somebody that's just linking arms with you, encouraging you, somebody who's gone just a little ahead of you on the road that has been there before, and it brings that extra layer of accountability. Then we have one of our components being the community. Oh my goodness, for me, this has been something that has set this journey apart. What has happened with the community is essentially, we do this through social media, but we end up gathering and just getting to know people who are linking arms and who are all working together, headed in the same direction. And I love that this is a positive place where we can share joy and share stories together, celebrating one another. The third component of our program is the Habits of Health Transformation System. And this is probably one of the greatest things that I've ever seen. Dr. Anderson and his heart for transforming the lives of people comes through on the pages of this book. And essentially it's a workbook that helps you to walk through where your current reality is. And it helps you to look at everything. But really, for me, what is unlocked is the healthy mindset piece, something that no other program had I ever worked on before. And this tool is incredible. And then the last thing, what most people actually reach out to us about, is the fuelings themselves. When people eat these, a lot of times people end up being skeptics when they see that we have got, people say, oh gosh, food in a box, but hang on a second. I want you to know that this has the full recommended daily allowance of vitamins and minerals. It has added probiotics for your gut health. And our fuelings, they are literally going to dial in your nutrition. We do not have preservatives and garbage in our program. This is something that you see in the stories of the people, the very real stories that we are sharing tonight, that what we have is dialing in your nutrition. And these 4 components just set us apart. Now, I want to share, the ladies have been bringing it tonight. But for any gentlemen who have been hanging with us tonight, who have been watching, I'd love to introduce you tonight to Bob. Bob is incredible, and what you need to know is he is also on the other end of Raylynn, my mother. He is also on the other end of her, yes. He is related to her, and he has had a phenomenal story. So Bob, if you want to jump off mute there, we would love to hear from you. I think. Do we have Bob still?
Let's see. Having a time here at the computer. Let's see what we got.
Oh, there we are.
There we are.
Okay. Hate to get started, have to repeat myself. Anyway, about 13 years ago, well, first of all, let me start by saying this. I graduated high school, 210 pounds, fully athletic, eating about 10,000 calories a day and burning it. As I grew older, I didn't stop eating. I did stop the athletic part. So as you can see, I became a very big tub of goo, which is also somewhat job related since I'm a trucker. Activity level's kind of low there. But one thing is, I've tried losing weight. Give me a diet, I can slough it off, but I always hit a wall. What happens if I lose it? Something always comes back. The bad part is when that weight comes back, it brings friends, and those friends camp out. I topped out at 375 pounds. I was forced to by DOT regs to go check for my sleep apnea. So when I visited the pulmonologist, he asked me, are you going to lose weight? I told him no. I've never seen anybody go from concerned to angry so fast. I said, let me explain. I says, losing weight's never an issue with me. It's keeping it off. And I figured out the problem is what's in my head. Why do I always gain it back? What is it that causes me to stop, crave, eat a little something, all of a sudden I'm off and running to the races again. So I said, I'm not going to lose weight again until I get this squared away in my own head. As it turned out, I waited a while. January of this year, I finally, after paying attention to what Raylynn was doing and saw her story, I thought, you know what? As a trucker, we've got truck stops to go to. And if you ever been to a truck stop, they're nothing but glorified convenience stores. Candy, chip, pops, energy drinks, garbage, garbage, garbage. If you go to a restaurant and a truck stop, it's massive portions. And as I was trying to eat better, I knew I wasn't doing well. Plus, the financial cost of eating on the road is just stupid. But here's an opportunity with these fuelings. Maybe I can actually do something to get the weight down, keep it off, and still have good food. So I stepped into the deep water, and I'm very glad I did. Now, I did hit the wall. Well, let me rephrase that. I came up to the wall, and the weight stopped for a while. But that's where I learned, even though the weight wasn't coming off, my body was still shifting. And when that was done shifting, boom, I blasted through the wall. And then my mind was set. I said, I don't have to have all these god-awful portions anymore. When I was in the Air Force, doctor came to me and said, I weighed 210 pounds again in the Air Force. He said, you got to lose 35 pounds. I said, where? He said, well, 1,500 calorie diet. He gets up, walks out of the room. 1,500 calorie diet. Oh, right. I'm one of those I needed to kind of be guided along. Well, I come to this. Yes, I've been able to live on 1,000 calories and 1,500 calories. I've been able to survive, not have any cravings. You might say if I do, it's nothing really. The food is excellent. I no longer, if I even look at a candy bar, all I see is a pile of sugar. I no longer have this desire to go back, and it's not coming back. I am down 130 pounds, 10 pounds from what my graduated in. My children have never known a slender dad. I'm so grateful for what Raylynn brought, but I'm also grateful for the Optavia, because now I can now go down the road, reach for fueling, have it, and keep on going. It's just a remarkable thing for us truckers to do. And I just want to say thanks to all of you for guiding each other along. And here's the other thing. We get to this point, now I'm going to go into a transition. Again, another wall. No, it's not a wall anymore. It's just a little bitty bump. This is where Raylynn, Sonny, Lori can help guide me through to where I now can level off and stay that way. That's coaching. And I decided to become a coach because I looked at all these other truckers out here. All of us are just big, just too big. It's standard idea of a trucker. Look at the big fat guy. Well, it's time for us truckers to get right and show it can be done. And I'm one who's helping truckers do just exactly that. So.
It's low-hanging fruit, I have to say it. Bob, you're one healthy trucker.
I also got to say this, one other thing. Even though I was 375 pounds, I was never high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, any of that stuff. I was always saying that I was too heavy to be so healthy. But climbing stairs, I had to use my arms to help pull me up. Now I go up and down the middle of the stairs on the balls of my feet, and my balance, I don't feel like I'm going to tip over all the time. My balance is returned. So thanks to all of you.
I love that. I'm going to jump in here, Bob. I cannot even express how awesome it is to just see the way you are changing. You are changing the trajectory of so many people's lives, and it doesn't have to look a certain way. I mean, you are a leader of the pack here, and I'm just so proud of you and so excited. You said so many awesome things there, but for you that are listening tonight, where do you want to be? If you're listening to these stories tonight and you're just wondering, could this work for me? Is it possible for me? Listening to the stories of these unbelievable transformations, and I say transformations because that's what's happening. It's not just that they're losing the weight. They are actually changing and transforming from the inside out. Just taking a look at thinking about, let's just say Bob's story or Raylynn's story, right? Angie's story, Sunny's story, my story. The power of your story is so powerful, and we don't even realize when we jump onto this. Many of us get into this just because for our own personal reasons. We want to feel better. We need more energy. We want to get off of the medications, all of that. We have no idea what our story, what the impact it can have on so many other people. I'm just so impressed by you, Raylynn, for just taking that leap of faith where you were at in your life, in your health, and thinking that you were able to completely impact and make such a huge, just pass on that hope to all of these people that we're sharing tonight. If you're listening and if you want more information, it just begins with a phone call. It just begins with a message. Send a private message to one of us that are speaking tonight. If you're whoever's friend you are, send a message and just say, can you just tell me more? And I just encourage you to just take that first step and get the information, because without that, you could be thinking and processing on your own and just assuming this isn't going to work for me. I know that was me. For so many years, I just assumed this wasn't going to work. Why could it be different? But my question to you is, what if it is different? What if it is? What if it does work? So I encourage you to take that leap of faith and just go ahead and reach out. And one of us would love to be able to connect with you, answer your questions, find out what you're looking for, and just pass on that hope. So I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend and a very happy holiday. And thank you for joining us tonight. Have a good night, everyone.